concern, or rather warming waters, and the cause being global warming. Now we're hearing the cooling. It really does cause some confusion for the layman who doesn't seem to understand. I guess the biggest concern might be, though, are these effects that we're seeing on these reefs, is this reversible or is this permanent damage?
Yeah, well, the first part of the question is that we shouldn't just be looking at warming. That's the thing that most people are familiar with. That's what causes bleaching typically, but it's really climate change, global climate change. So indeed, we are seeing warming in most oceans, but we are seeing areas such as in Florida this January where the temperatures dropped extremely low, and that's a really rare event also. And so it's temperature fluctuations, just change globally. And in terms of recovery, we just aren't sure yet. Some reefs have been able to recover. They're actually two organisms living in one. So a coral reef is the actual coral that most people see and think of when they think of a coral reef. And then there's a little algae living inside of them. And what happens during a bleaching event, hot or cold, is that algae leaves the coral. And sometimes that algae can come back, and therefore the coral will continue to live. But if the algae doesn't come back, then the coral will die.
Well, we know that the world leaders are working on a comprehensive solution in terms of climate change and dealing with that. But in the meantime, if you're not sure if this is going to recover, what really needs to be done in the short term to try and deal with this aggressively?
Well, there's a lot of different tools out there that actually we can use and we have been using in the international community, science community, conservation community to try and protect what we have left in these reefs. And some of which are still doing all right, but like you said, many are damaged. And one tool, for instance, is a marine protected area. And that's any area that you can put under some form of protection to keep external, all other threats, aside from climate change, keep them out to try and recover that entire ecosystem, from the invertebrates to the fish to the sharks. Sometimes it involves no fishing, sometimes it's a community monitoring it really closely, but some form of protection can really help these reefs. And also, another tool would be using these marine protected areas in a more integrated approach to managing the whole coast. So looking at what happens on land, what happens farther out at sea, and really trying to integrate those into national plans.
And I guess the one concern is there really the political will to make sure that any of this actually happens?
Well, you know, in some places there is. We have a lot of strong will here in the U.S. to try and push for ocean protection. There's great examples all over the world where smaller nations have come together under challenges and challenged each other to protect each other's oceans and their own oceans, and come together to really protect their reefs, and not only coral reefs, but seagrasses and coastal marshes, mangroves, all marine ecosystems. So it's out there, and the people need to keep pushing for more, though, because it's going to take a lot of work, but we can do it. There's tools out there to do it.
All right, Caitlin Toropova, we appreciate you talking to us about this story.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Well, that is all for our